Not wanting children is one of the most misunderstood life choices in modern society. For centuries, having children was seen not as a choice, but as a duty, a natural step, a moral expectation, something you simply did, without question. So when someone quietly says, "I don't want children," it doesn't just surprise people, it unsettles them, because it challenges a belief so deeply embedded that many never realized it was optional. This video is not about judging that choice. It's about understanding the psychology behind it. Many people assume that those who don't want children must be selfish, immature, or emotionally damaged. But psychology tells a very different story. In fact, the decision not to have children often comes from deep awareness, not avoidance. Let's explore why. One of the most common psychological traits among people who don't want children is high self-reflection. They think extensively about long-term consequences, not just the idea of having a child, but the daily reality, the responsibility, the emotional labor, the permanent shift in identity. They ask questions many people never stop to ask. What kind of life do I want? What am I willing to give up? What happens if I regret this? On either side. And when they don't feel a genuine desire to raise another human being, they don't ignore that truth. They respect it. Another factor is emotional honesty. Some people recognize that love alone is not enough to raise a child well. They understand their own limitations, their patience, their temperament, their mental health. Instead of assuming they will figure it out later, they take responsibility now. This isn't coldness, it's restraint. Many people who don't want children have observed parenting up close. Not the idealized version, not the highlight reels, but the exhaustion, the resentment, the unspoken sacrifices. They've seen good people struggle. They've seen love turn into obligation. They've seen parents lose themselves, and they ask a quiet question most are afraid to ask. Am I truly willing to live that life? If the answer is no, they listen. Another psychological reason is a strong need for autonomy. For these individuals, freedom is not about partying or irresponsibility. It's about control over time, energy, and emotional bandwidth. They value solitude, they value flexibility. They value being able to respond to life instead of being locked into a single role forever. This doesn't mean they avoid responsibility, it means they choose which responsibilities they accept. Some people don't want children because they've already carried too much emotional weight. They were the caretaker too early, the emotional anchor in their family, the responsible one before they were ready. By adulthood, the idea of more dependency feels overwhelming. Not because they lack compassion, but because they are already depleted. Choosing not to have children becomes a form of self-preservation. There is also a deep connection between not wanting children and existential awareness. Some people think intensely about suffering, about inequality, about mental illness, about the randomness of pain. They don't see life as a guaranteed gift. They see it as complex, uncertain, and sometimes cruel. For them, choosing not to create life isn't nihilism, it's caution. Society often responds to child-free individuals with discomfort. Questions like, "You'll change your mind," "Who will take care of you when you're old?" "Isn't that lonely?" These questions reveal more about society's fears than the individual's psychology. Because for many, children are not just loved ones, they are insurance, meaning. A way to avoid confronting emptiness. People who don't want children are often forced to confront those questions directly, without shortcuts. Interestingly, research shows that people who consciously choose not to have children often have high life satisfaction when their decision aligns with their values. The distress doesn't come from the choice itself. It comes from constant invalidation, from being treated as incomplete, from being told their life is missing something, even when they don't feel that absence at all. It's also important to understand that not wanting children is not the same as hating children. Many child-free individuals are kind, patient, and nurturing. They simply prefer to express care in other ways. Through relationships, through work, through creativity, through community. Parenthood is one form of meaning, not the only one. At its core, the psychology of people who don't want children is about alignment between inner truth and outer life. They choose a path that fits them, even when it's unpopular, even when it's questioned, even when it's misunderstood. That takes courage. Not everyone is meant to be a parent, and not every meaningful life includes children. A fulfilled life is not defined by following a script. It's defined by living honestly. If this topic made you uncomfortable, that discomfort is worth exploring. And if it made you feel seen, you're not alone. Understanding others doesn't require agreement, only curiosity.